when evil takes over, and let's call it by its name, when Satan takes over the people and is on the driving seat, akhathala amabandla enzani, they are under his dominion. And so I want us to take this situation that we're in as a country, seriously in a spiritual sense. That we all can attest that today we are seeing a president that is dejected, that is discouraged. We are seeing a president that is not giving up, but is drowning in the sea of opposition that he is faced with and confronted with on a daily basis. He is not at the helm, he is not leading. And we may blame him and we may say all sorts of things about our president. But the fact is, he is right in the eye of the storm and surrounded by vultures that remind him every minute that he has very limited power, that they have power over him. And so with all good intentions, he may talk about eradicating corruption. He may talk about investing in the nation. He may talk about using every available resource to empower our nation. But he's got equal opposition, if not stronger, that's pushing against those intentions. When did we get here? How did we get here? And what has been our role? What has been our role in weakening our state? And what has been our role in not supporting the good of the country and making sure that we root out the evil of the country, such that evil would thrive to the extent that it has? Today we are not surprised when we hear of families falling apart. Today we are not surprised when we hear of children being torn between two parents. But our minds don't quickly go to what will happen to these children and what is being broken. A child may walk around looking all courageous and all positive, but what has been broken? And when will it show up and how will it show up? Because it will show up. It's a question of when and how it will show up, but it will show up. And so our obsession as a church with building families, with mending families, with holding families together, with praying for families. And it is not to say that people must stay in abusive relationships. Of course, that is even more detrimental. But we do so because we know that there is no good in separation. And there is no good in dissolving families. It leads to so much pain and so much heartache that has very little chance of healing. And these are the people, I'm not saying everybody that comes from a broken family ends up being that, but in the main, these are the people who roam the streets and will spew their anger, their resentment onto the nation. Where were we when they were going through that? Where were we when they were hurting? Where were we when they were breaking? Where were we when they were crying for help? And why are we surprised and shocked when they show us how much they are grieving inside? And so I want us, Bazalwane, to spend this time and the remaining days in this month to really seek the face of God and to pray over these things. Because I believe we are good people. I believe Tina Esilandlini, we are good people.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
I believe we are good people. With all our weaknesses, we are good people. We don't mean harm, we don't mean evil to anybody. And if you've ever been part of evil, I want to believe you've repented and you've turned away from those ways. We are all good people. And if good people come together, and no matter how few we are, we can win against what we are confronted with. Thula bazalwane. I would like to call for a fast on the 31st of August. I'd like to call for a full day fast and to particularly and specifically pray for corruption or against corruption. And corruption, as we see it and as we know it in how the state is being looted, and how power is being looted, how people are usurping power from legitimate power into illegitimate power. You get what I'm saying? How people who are illegitimate go against the people who are legitimate. We see this. We see this all the time. People who are illegitimate go up with courage, with braveness, and they go against people who are legitimate. And they wrestle with them. They wrestle with them over power. And in many instances, as we see in this nation, they take away the power. And so the person that is supposed to lead and has the heart and the calling of leadership may still lead, but with very limited power, as we see in the president. Or they may give up, and the power has been taken completely away, and you find other people who have no care, no love, no compassion for the people leading and holding that power. And I want us to pray for that corruption. But secondly, I want us to pray for the spiritual corruption. The corrupt spirits. There are corrupt spirits that are causing so much damage. If we are going to win as we go into the next discussion next month or next weekend and talk to men and engage men, and if we're going to win any hearts, especially for those that need the help, we need to arrest a corrupt spirit. Because there is a corrupt spirit within a man. A good-looking man, a handsome man, a healthy-looking man, powerful man physically, but the spirit is corrupt. And it is that corrupt spirit that drives every action of this man. He doesn't care about the damage that he is causing to himself, to his family, to those around him, to the resources made available to him, and to those that he kills and maims. There is no care. And the corrupt spirit that says, I don't even care even if I go to jail. I don't care. There are people whose spirits are so corrupt that they have reached a point where they say, I don't care whether I get caught or arrested. I don't even care if I die. Nobody is born with that spirit. No one is born with that spirit. But a person reaches a point of such deterioration and such brokenness that the wounds that have not healed, they fester and they corrupt everything engaphakathi kwakhe. Mbonga uJehova mphefumulo wami nako konke ungaphakathi kwami makubonga igama lakhe elingcwele. But when a person is corrupt ngaphakathi, they are unable to say nako konke ungaphakathi kwami, because ingaphakathi lonakele. It no longer represents the image of God, the goodness of God, the greatness of God, the righteousness of God, the holiness of God. It represents so much more that is contrary to who God is and what God is. And we need to pray for that. We need to pray for the death of that spirit. The death of that spirit. Spirits die, bazalwane. Spirits die. We need to pray for the death of the corrupt spirit in every person. We may not have an opportunity to lay hands on them right now, but we will lay hands on them spiritually. Amen. We will lay hands on their lives and pray out that corruption. We've seen people change. We've seen men change. We've seen women change. We've seen people who had given their lives to so much turn around, come back with such humility. And they come back and they say, I am empty. Why are they empty? Because that which was driving them, that which was hungry and needed to be fed every day, has left them. And they are hungry for something more. And they are hungry for something more. We want more people that will be hungry for God. The people that are stealing, the people that are cheating serially, not that once is enough, but the people that are cheating constantly, the people that are killing, are hungry. And they think that their hunger is on the flesh level. If I take more money, if I earn more money, if I take a little bit more, if I surround myself with more things as Bambegayo, if I clothe this body with so much comfort, I will feel better and I will be full. If I eat the most expensive of things, I drink the most expensive of alcohol, I will quench my thirst. But they want more because their hunger and their thirst is not at a physical level. And so despite all of these things that they surround themselves with, and they've got big cars and they've got big homes, they've got multiple clothes, big brands, they need brands. But with all of these things, they are not satisfied. And for a man, he thinks, I can sleep with so many women. And the more great women I get, it's the more I feel like a man, it's the more I get energized, it's the more I feel satisfied. But with each woman and with each relationship, call it that, the emptiness and the vacuum goes deeper. It goes deeper. Because it is not the sexual thirst that they have. It is a spiritual thirst and a spiritual emptiness that they have that masquerades itself as a sexual appetite. But it is a spiritual thirst and a spiritual vacuum and emptiness that they have. And when that spirit leaves them, and when that corrupt spirit dies and leaves them, the emptiness becomes very clear. It's got nothing to do with any of these things. I need Christ. Amen. And the day I connect with my Maker, my King, all the things that I needed to fill up and fill myself up will no longer be relevant for me. And all the lifestyles that I had to be part of in order to be all these things will no longer matter because God will complete me. Amen. And so I'm praying and I'm asking all of us on the 31st of August to take on this fast.